Imagine you're David, pulling in $122,000 a year as a software developer in San Francisco. It all sounds great, right? Solid career trajectory, 6 years of experience under your belt, a dream job for many. But wait, let's take a closer look at the reality of it all. You're living in a cramped one-bedroom apartment that costs $3,400 a month, and it's not even the kind of place you'd brag about. More like a small unit in a building that looks like it hasn't seen a renovation since 1987. Street parking? Yeah, good luck with that. Every 72 hours you're out there moving your car, hoping you don't forget and rack up a ticket. Do the math, that's $40,800 a year just for a roof over your head. After taxes, federal, state, FICA, you're left with about $84,000 a year take home. But here's the kicker. Half of that goes straight to your landlord before you even consider groceries or gas. By the time you're finished paying for the basics of city life, those ridiculously priced avocados and the occasional dinner out, you're scraping by, saving maybe $400 a month on a $122,000 salary. At 31 years old, you've got a used Civic and $23,000 in retirement savings. Does that sound exhausting? Because it feels like you're running a marathon, but you're stuck in a hamster wheel, expending energy for what? Then there's your old college buddy, Ryan. He took a remote job 3 years ago and moved to Boise, Idaho. You know what he makes? $94,000, almost $30,000 less than you. But here's the kicker, his rent, just $1,400 a month for a 2-bedroom with in-unit laundry and a parking spot. And all his bills, way lower than yours. Ryan saves $1,800 a month, and he's putting money into his retirement accounts like it's second nature. His net worth is climbing, he just put a down payment on a house. Meanwhile, you worry that every raise and promotion you chase merely disappears into the abyss of San Francisco's living costs. Doesn't it feel cruel? It's not a paradox, it's the geography trap. If you're stuck in a high-cost city, convincing yourself that career opportunities and culture make it all worth it, you might just be watching your financial future disappear, one rent check at a time. Let's break this down. A dollar isn't a dollar. Earning $100,000 in Manhattan feels dramatically different than in Memphis. And the difference isn't minor. It can be 200, 300, or 400%. You can multiply your effective wealth just by picking up and moving somewhere else without making a single extra dollar. According to the Council for Community and Economic Research, the cost of living in San Francisco is around 80% higher than the national average. Meanwhile, cities like Oklahoma City, Memphis, and Kansas City fall 10 to 15% below it. And let's not even get into international locations like Portugal and Mexico, which can be 50 to 70% cheaper. Now picture this, a household earning $100,000 after tax in San Francisco, with costs that high, gets you what $55,000 would in a typical U.S. city. Your purchasing power is nearly halved. In contrast, in Oklahoma City, that same $100,000 feels like $125,000. How crazy is that? Same job, same effort, and yet your financial realities are worlds apart. Let's explore how this compounds over time. David saves $400 a month, while Ryan is raking in $1,800 in Boise. If both invest in index funds earning an average of 8% annually, 20 years down the line, David has about $236,000. Ryan, a staggering $1.06 million. That's an $800,000 difference. And here's the kicker. Ryan didn't earn more money, he didn't pick better investments, didn't work harder, and he certainly didn't get luckier. He simply moved to a cheaper city. That's what his zip code really costs. You're talking about a $40,000 annual wealth tax David is unknowingly paying just to live in San Francisco. But the geography trap isn't just about current expenses. It gets vicious because the cities that cost the most feel the most necessary. You've got the tech jobs in San Francisco, finance roles in New York, and all the glitz of Los Angeles. It feels like you've got to be there to make it, right? But here's something most people overlook. The career premium in expensive cities has been plummeting, especially since the pandemic. A study from Stanford economist Nick Bloom revealed that about 28% of work days in America are now remote, and hybrid work options have skyrocketed. Never before have companies embraced the concept of remote work quite like this. So why are you still tethered to a pricey city for a job that can be done from anywhere? You've likely been told about international geography arbitrage, the new wave of remote workers who have figured out they can keep their US or European salaries while living in places where their money stretches further. Take someone pulling $80,000 a year. After taxes, let's say they take home about $62,000 or about $5,200 a month. In San Francisco, they're losing ground, spending over $5,000 a month, maybe even going into the red. But in Da Nang, Vietnam, where the cost of living is around $500 a month, they save $4,700. That's a saving rate of over 70% of their income. Have you ever thought about how quickly that could lead them to financial independence? It's not about earning more or hitting the jackpot. It's about making the math work for you by simply picking up and moving. Now, sure, your friends, family, and community tie you to your city, your life is there. But let's flip the script. What if you put a number on it? What if living in San Francisco is cozily costing you $40,000 a year in lost wealth-building potential while you're missing out on the very same opportunities elsewhere? Have you truly made that calculation? Or are you just drifting, convinced you have to stay where you are because it's where you've always been? Most people never consciously decide to pay that premium. They normalize it. They absorb it. They accept that half their paycheck vanishes into rent. It's a trap, and it's time to break free. You're probably worried about career advancement and whether being remote will hurt your chances of getting promoted. Research suggests that remote workers often get promoted just as much as in-person workers when performance metrics are clear. A recent study showed remote workers being promoted slightly more often than their in-office counterparts. About taxes, yes, American citizens owe taxes on worldwide income. But guess what? You could qualify for the foreign earned income exclusion and save yourself some serious cash. Many low-cost countries have tax treaties that can lessen your burden even further. And the healthcare thing? International health insurance costs far less than the premiums you're used to in the States. Visiting a doctor in Mexico could cost you $40 versus the $300 you'd pay in the US. You might think about loneliness and starting over, and that's real. Building a community takes time. But affordable cities have thriving expat communities with meetups, co-working spaces, and digital nomad hubs to ease that transition. So here's the framework for thinking about geography as a financial lever. Calculate your true cost of living and compare it to a cheaper area. Consider your rent, local service premiums, and taxes. Audit whether your job truly requires you to be there physically. Run a 10-year projection comparing your current and potential future savings. Lastly, differentiate between temporary and permanent moves. Sure, living in an expensive city for a year to build a network might be worth it, but living there for 15 years just because you got comfortable, that's a financial catastrophe in disguise. Look in the mirror. Your location isn't your identity. It's a variable in your financial equation and the most leveraged input you have. Geography can multiply your wealth by 2, 3, even 5 times overnight. David and Ryan both have the same education, the same profession. 20 years from now, one will be rich while the other continues to struggle. The only difference, where they chose to build their lives. Your zip code is not your destiny, it's a decision. Each day you delay making this choice, you're paying a silent tax you never agreed to, a slow leak that drains the wealth you should be building. I'm not suggesting you move, but I am urging you to calculate the cost of staying where you are and then decide, are you really getting what you're paying for? Keep that in mind as you navigate your financial future. If this gave you some food for thought about where you live, hit that like button and subscribe. We'll dig deeper next time.